Welcome back to Quarantine Baseball. It's Easter Sunday on a beautiful evening here in Ann Arbor. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's cloudy and it's cool, but we're out here doing a little bit of practice after Easter dinner. And today we're going to do a couple drills that are focused on throwing. I know we've been asking our team to throw regularly throughout the week, but we actually have a couple of specific drills we want to introduce for throwing. Some that we've done before, but reminding our players of some of the ideas that we want to really emphasize about how to improve our throwing velocity. So Trib normally is the demonstrator for these drills, but our usual cameraman, Lucy, quit. She's more interested in eating ice cream apparently than coming outside to work on these videos. So he's going to be behind the camera. I'm going to show you guys a couple drills we can incorporate into your throwing routines at home. Number one, normally when we start the throwing position, I'm going to be throwing into the net today. Normally we want to make sure that our back foot is perpendicular to our target. But this drill, I want you to start with your back foot and your front foot both pointing at your target. And we're going to work on hip and shoulder separation. We've talked about hip and shoulder separation a lot in the past, particularly with regard to hitting. The idea that our hips move before our shoulders, right? And we see Dak Prescott do this drill in the NFL. Everyone was all crazy about what's he doing? Moving his hips before his hands. But he's doing exactly the same thing we're going to do with throwing a baseball, which is make sure that our hips move before our arm comes through. So the way we're going to practice that is start out in a throwing position where we put one foot in front of the other, toes pointed straight ahead, and then we're going to counter rotate our top half back to really stretch it out. This idea that now my hips have already moved forward because my toes are pointed forward, but I'm going to pull my top half back as far as I can, really pull it back, and then throw hard into the net. So that same motion, toes pointed ahead, arm back, nice and loose, should be happening when we throw the ball every time we want to throw hard, is that our hips should rotate first and everything else in the top half should come behind it. Our hand and the ball should be the very last thing. So we're practicing the end of our throw here where our hips have already opened and fired and we've got everything pulled back, our hand is still back, and we throw. Okay, a couple more things on throwing. The first one of these is going to apply mostly to pitchers and outfielders, but everyone on the team can work on it. The first one is that when we throw, we play catch. In our playing catch routine, we use one from Coach Trent Mongaro that I found is very effective. If you ever need to look up our catch routine, it's the Trent Mongaro throwing routine. But we start a lot of times at power position when we throw. And for our catchers, we're often telling them to transfer the ball quickly to the ear. For our pitchers and our outfielders, we want a long arm action. So that helps us to throw the ball hard, far. It's a little slower to get rid of the ball, but it helps us to throw the ball harder. So one thing we can do is start back here, and instead of starting in power position, really let our arm go loose. And see how long and loose and relaxed we can make our arm before we turn and throw. All right, we don't want to have bad mechanics and come through the whole way like this, right? This is how little kids throw, they push the ball. We don't want to push the ball, but can we really get our arm loose, right? Make it go nice and loose and ultimately long to throw. Something you can work on. The other thing was specifically for pitchers. And we talk a lot about with our pitchers, they want to make sure they bend their back leg to throw. You can drive off this back leg towards home plate. The harder they drive, the harder they should throw the baseball. But I want you guys to think about when you go to push off this leg, the push is actually from your heel. It's not so much from your toe. If you get out over your toes, you're going to lose balance. You can't have as much power. Our big muscles here, we want to use the muscles in our glutes or our butt, right, in addition to our quads. So the glutes are the most important muscle here in this motion. And the way you can really see that is imagine sitting down in a chair. So you talk about, with pitchers, we're going to talk about, we want them to sit into their glute or sit into their back hip. And if you watch the video of great pitchers online, you're going to see it's not so much a move like this to bend the knee, it's more of a move to bend the hip. You're really going to sit in your heel. You can really practice this by just putting your heel out in front of you, right? And making sure you bend here with your glute and with your hip, not just with your knee. So you get here, sit, and push the throw. All right, so that's something that everybody can do, but pitchers in particular, spend a little time trying to really get low for your drive, and that low sitting position is going to come off of using your butt to help you fire off.